Cheers, Muses. I'm Erica Papillon-Posey, and welcome to another episode of Suits Souls by EPP, where I inspire you toward your style muse with timeless, classic, prim looks from my boudoir, as well as some content to assist you in your very best lifestyle. And as a reminder, hang out until the end for the mini photo shoot that I provide for you at the conclusion of this episode. And in today's episode, yes, we've got 3 style inspirations for you, but these style inspirations are pretty special to me because they really are indicative of who I am as a woman and how we sometimes forget that not long ago, we did not have the autonomy to do much of anything in this world, or much less this country, without the permission of a man, particularly the way that we show up in the world. When I was in grad school, I was studying, as you know, I am studied in business, within music as well, but I have an emphasis in opera and in jazz. And I was actually taking an opera history course at the time when I learned that there was a period in time. Now, I have known that there were scripture that spoke directly to women being seen but not heard, but I did not understand the context behind it based on the historical happenings and culture of the period, specifically the medieval or the Middle Ages, right? And there is this saying, as evidenced and backed by biblical scripture, that again, women should always be seen in the church, but never heard. And that actually started with Paul. If you actually read 1 Corinthians 14:34 and 35 speaks about a woman not speaking in the church or not being heard so as not to appear that she is superseding or negating the authority of a man in the church, right? Now, it came about through my studies because in the opera world, as you all may know, if you've been with the channel since the inception, if not, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am a mezzo-soprano. So in the operatic world, you know, we have what we call Fach. Fach is a German word for basically your voice type. And my Fach, or voice part, was a mezzo-soprano, right? So as a mezzo-soprano, that particular type of voice came along or came to be categorized because there was a period in time where even men sang the roles of a woman because women were what? Only seen and not heard. So when I say that women could not speak in the church, they also were not allowed to sing in the church, right? So operatically, those roles that would have been played by a woman were actually being played by a man. So as a mezzo-soprano, we generally play about 3 types of roles. We have a little saying as a mezzo-soprano. You literally play a witch, a bitch, or a breeches, right? Breeches as in pant roles. But in terms of breeches, again, those that term came about because we now are able to sing, because we've moved along in history, we now are able to sing those pant roles that were traditionally sung by men instead of women, even though they were men playing women. And that always blew my mind because even being reared as a child in the Catholic Church and following the Catholic dogma and legalese, if you will, I had not learned that historical context or backdrop at all. And I understand now, especially from my studies, where a lot of this institutionalized subjugation came from. A lot of it started with who? The Catholic Church. All right. We say no, we need we say any more? But that really did start. And again, this came about as an edict through the popes of the day, who of course wanted to make women as small, as insignificant as possible so that men had the authority and dominion over us, and they basically were our gatekeepers, if you will, for the benefit of Christ, right? That was the dogma and the legalese being pushed and peddled at the time. But it took us a while to even get to the point where, again, now we are flourishing, even though our rights are being stripped away from us slowly but surely by this dystopian hellscape of a dumpster fire administration that is currently in office. And we are just watching our rights being ripped away from us slowly but surely. But just a little bit more historical backdrop on what we've had to do to get to the point that we are now. I also want to focus primarily on African American women and the plight that we have had to deal with as opposed to white women in this world, more directly in the United States of America. So, for instance, in 1777, all states passed laws which literally took away the woman's right to vote because it was assumed you were just going to vote anyway. So they literally passed a law that said, no, you are, make no mistake about it. When we wrote the Constitution, when those laws were laid out, the legislation to construct the Constitution, we never meant you. We never meant you. We never meant you. So they literally had to go back and insert a law in 1777 that said, no, women, we didn't mean you. You cannot vote, right? Another one, 1855, Missouri versus Celia, a slave, a black woman, is declared to be property without a right to defend herself, even though she was raped by her. Excuse me, I don't think I can say that on YouTube. I don't want to get censored. But she was R-worded, S-A'd by her master. So she could not sue because she was deemed property. Where women are, again, seen and not heard, where our dress is concerned and policed and regulated, we actually gained the right to wear pants in public in 1923. However, it was still so taboo and still shunned so very much that it didn't become normalized until literally 40 plus years later. So the mid 60s into the 70s is really when women started to really come out in public in pants or in trousers because they were so fearful of being physically attacked by other men for having the gall or the audacity to wear pants or trousers in public. Ridiculous, right? And then we had things like in 1974, where with the Fair Credit Act came along, women finally gained the right to, again, purchase property in her name only, right? Get a credit card, open a bank account in her name. I mean, it boggles the mind that we have had to really fight and drudge our way through the process just to gain equal rights. And I say this jokingly, but I mean it seriously. As we all know, all babies start out female. All babies start out as female. At some point, they splinter into male. But I jokingly say with my daughter all the time, when they splinter, they lose, something becomes defective in their XY chromosomes that causes them to become as dense as they do. Because you cannot tell me anything about women not being smarter than men. Women really are intelligent, whole, balanced, thoughtful, kind, considerate, intellectually curious, emotionally empathetic, you name it. We are such well-rounded individuals. We access other areas of our brain in ways that men cannot fathom. Just the ability to be able to give life is awesome in and of itself, that I just cannot believe that. I mean, I can, because we know who we're working with and we know with whom we've had to fight all these battles day in and day out. But again, as it relates to African American women, even more so, where yes, in 1920, with the suffrage movement that was going on, it was Black women who started the suffrage movement. Fight me, say it was not. Do your research. And then it was co-opted by white women and who gained their right to vote in 1920. Now, technically, we all gained our right to vote in 1920, but we were prevented from voting until literally the Civil Rights Act of 1965, where we were granted the exclusive right inalienable right to actually vote. And there was a situation that I wanted to personally share with you, and what exactly I wanted to do with my body in a medical situation. When I married my husband, he told me he did not want to have children. I already had a daughter, right? I had my daughter in university. I'm getting personal with you here. Had my daughter in university. I knew I wanted to be a star. I was going to be the next Billie Holiday. I was going to be the next Sarah Vaughan. That was my claim to fame. I didn't want to have children. I wasn't trying to have anybody's baby at the time. Lo and behold, I met my daughter's father in university at Jackson State University, where I started undergrad originally. And one thing led to another. He and I got together. My very first time, I ended up pregnant with my daughter. True story, true story. I was devastated. Of course, I was devastated. I had no intentions. The fact that I chose to keep my daughter, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God, because I love her to death. I like my daughter, and I can't imagine having a life without her. But at the time, I was devastated, and I was willing and ready to do whatever possible to terminate the pregnancy. I really was. Truth, just full transparency. Y'all, let me tell you. I said to myself, never again. I'm not having any more children. I don't want to. But I was young at the time. I didn't really know what I was saying. I didn't know what the implications of that were. And I wanted to do whatever possible, birth control, i.e. birth control, to not have any more children. Well, after having spoken to some confidants of mine, including an aunt of mine who I completely and utterly trusted, she was like, you never know. You might meet a man who you want to have children with, and you might change your mind, blah, blah, blah. Anywho, fast forward years later, I meet my husband, and he decides when I meet him that he doesn't want any children. But instead of him getting a vasectomy, now mind you, I am significantly younger than my husband. My frontal lobe, as you know, 26 years old is the age at which the frontal lobe is fully developed. So until your frontal lobe is developed, you're at risk of doing all sorts of nonsense because you don't know, your brain isn't fully developed yet. So I met my husband before my frontal lobes were completely developed. Again, he's significantly older than I am. Well, he said he didn't want any children. And you know the nonsense, the stupid, idiotic things that we do when we are young, sometimes old as well, to be in the good graces of a man, to have a man, to keep a man, right? So I said, no problem, thinking in my young mind when I first had my daughter in university, right? Well, I don't want any more children anyway. So again, not thinking of the ramifications of that. He said, great, because I don't want any children. Let's go this route. You go have the procedure done. I was coming off of a round of birth control, the internal birth control that you used to, I forget, I think it was called Nor something. I forget what it was, but basically it was the one that's embedded under your skin, and you can actually still see the marks there where I had a round of it. It lasted for 5 years, birth control that lasted for 5 years. Well, I had so many side effects from this birth control that I decided I didn't want to take the birth control again, that I was looking for alternatives. So after seeking some things out, he basically pushed me into doing the procedure of getting a tubal ligation, right? However, he wanted the tubal ligation. Again, he's significantly older than me. I didn't know what a tubal ligation was at the time. It's something he knew about. He had a background, so was medically trained, EMS, the whole nine. So he knew about this procedure. How he knew, I don't recall at the moment. However, I said, okay, I'm willing to go to the doctors and hear about all this other stuff. Made the appointment. We went to sit down with the doctor who would be responsible for the procedure. And the doctor puts these forms in front of me with my husband sitting right there. All right. And the doctor proceeds to tell me, I want you to know, first and foremost, going into this, that you cannot have this procedure without the permission of your husband. And I said, what? And he said, further to the point, Not only can you not have the procedure without the express permission, written permission of your husband, but he has to be the primary on the forms that you sign off on. You're the secondary. It's my body, right? But not only can I not make the decision, but I cannot be the primary on the documentation that needs to be signed for clearance to have the procedure. I'm secondary. This is in 1997 that I had this procedure. 1997, I think it was. Yeah, 1997. And I was mortified. I remember sitting there feeling small, insignificant. I remember feeling like I didn't have value. I remember feeling that, just not seen. And if that is any indication of how women globally, nationally, feel every day, day in, day out, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, then you understand what I'm talking about. That is what women have had to put up with in this world. And I'm curious, do any of you have any stories like that you'd like to share in the comments, or even email me and let me know? But I'm feeling raw at this point with how our rights are being stripped away from us. I'm feeling trepidatious, obviously concerned. And as you all know, I have alluded to many times in the past that I myself am looking forward to exiting the United States as much as frequently as possible, and biding my time, or at least splitting my time equally between here and Western Europe. That's my love. I feel at home when I'm there. I feel seen when I am there. And ironically, I think I've shared this with you in some way before. When I am in Western Europe, not only do I feel seen, but I feel valued. I feel like my talents and my intellect are appreciated. I feel heard. Yes, when I say something, I feel honored. From the moment that I step off of the plane, I have never been treated with anything but the utmost respect and value. And just, I feel regal when I am there. And I don't get that here in the United States unless it is in a quiet, hush, hush sort of way, if I get it at all, right? Or there's some kind of intimidation factor that goes on with the person who, feels like, okay, it's okay to shower me with a compliment here or there, but there's always this undergird. There is always this underpinning of, don't get it twisted. I'm giving you a compliment, but I'll cuss you out in a second as well. You never really know where you stand with men in this country. Your safety is always at risk. You are always looking over your shoulder. And we've heard the story about the bear, right? We'll take our chances with the bear before we take our chances with our male counterparts because of the risk involved. Margaret Atwood, who wrote the book, The Handmaid's Tale, and then The Handmaid's Tale was turned into a movie by the same name. Who would have known? Again, this was a dystopian thriller, essentially. But who would have known we'd be living in a dystopian hellscape under this dumpster fire administration at this point in time? Do you realize that as an African American woman, we are more at risk for being obviously subjugated than they are? And when I say they, you know exactly who I'm talking about. It's more of a risk for us because they're okay with voting against their own interest, right? They're absolutely fine with that as long as they can maintain the status quo, meaning their privilege. So when I say status quo, I mean maintaining their privilege, right? In the grand scheme of things. So yeah, vote against your interest all day long. It's not really going to affect them the way it's going to affect us. Though Black women, by and large, are doing the doggone thing. And I'm so super proud of us. I'm so super proud of who we are, what we've had to fight through. And we are at the point where we are relaxing into our greatness. We are relaxing into the grandeur and the magnanimity that is Black women. I love being a Black woman. We boast so many incredible accolades in addition to taking care of our children by ourselves. Yes, sometimes not sometimes, many times it has been a burden for us. In the face of that, we have still educated ourselves with 63% of Black women holding a bachelor's degree. And of that 63%, 73% have a master's degree. Black women are also 42% of new entrepreneurs in this country. More than any other demographic, Black women are entrepreneurial and start businesses more than any other demographic in this country. We are bad. We are doing it. And I'm so incredibly proud of us. And these three inspirations that I want to show you today, thank you for hearing my rant, really are looks that for me are well-rounded in how I like to show up in the world. I think they are great indications and great visual representations of how I love to show up in the world. So let's get started with look number one. Look number one is a two-piece knit set. Now, I chose this set, and let me go ahead and show you the origami pattern going on here at the bottom of the skirt. It is just a wonderful two-piece set, knit set, and it's super heavy, well constructed. This is a two-piece set by House of Harlow. Remember, I told you in a previous video, a few previous videos actually, that House of Harlow is the brainchild, the brand by Nicole Richie, the daughter of Lionel Richie. So we started there. With this look, I actually went in with this beautiful, knit heavy duty industrial wool sweater. And when I say it is heavy duty and industrial, this bad boy is heavy with this lined with this removable faux fur collar on it. I went in with these sunnies here that were a great complement to this entire look because it actually brings out and highlights the green. Do you see the green actually here in the sweater itself? Just beautiful, a wonderful, wonderful look that really is cosmopolitan to me. It's a cosmopolitan fall winter look, if you will. And how did I further accessorize besides the glasses that I went with? So these are my Bronx boots. You've seen these one other time. When I wore the mint green all-in-one, the jumper from Zada a few weeks ago with the page boy hat and the oversized bomber jacket from H&M. So these are Bronx, and I actually picked these up in Rome years ago. When I say years, I would say like 15, 16 years ago. They are in impeccable condition. It has one of the things I love about shopping for shoes in Europe, because they walk on cobblestone streets, which are thousands of years old, they construct their footwear a lot of times with this industrial rubber on the bottom, which also is great for maintaining the sole of the shoe. The heel is a blocked heel. Yeah. And of course, you don't have to lace up or down here. It stays as is. It is affixed this way. Look at the boot there on this just beautiful supple leather, but it has an inside zip here. And then, of course, the give for ladies with larger calves. These are amazing. They're fire. These are boots that are staples and stay in your wardrobe, ladies. To go with these boots, I love this. This is a dupe of the Bottega Veneta cassette bag. You've seen the other one that I have exactly like this. It's that puffer material. The other one that I have is all leather. It's a pebbled leather here. This one is a mix between the pebbled leather and suede. Can you see the variation there? Just fire, right? Just a real all-around look for fall, winter, and really does make me feel like I am in Europe. When I'm in Europe, if you saw one of my lives, I dress like this when I am in Europe. And again, when I'm in Europe, I feel my best self. I can feel most of who I am as a woman. Let's move on to look Number two. And why did I choose look number two? Because number two really brings out the sensuality in myself. And yes, sexiness as well. But there is, again, that word demure. Demure has actually been in my vocabulary before it actually became popular. But I didn't really want to use the word because, again, it's become trendy. But this dress, this look really does make me feel sophisticated and elegant and demure, again, for a wonderful a fall winter night out. You could easily throw a beautiful wool gray coat over this. And I don't know if you can see it here. You'll see it in the video there, but there's a split up the side. And I love this fold that happens in the neck area, which I used a brooch to adorn the neck area and highlight the cross here, the actual fold in the silhouette of the dress. And it is fitted. It is an elastic wool dress. The material is fantastic. Again, it's a maxi. It is a maxi. And I just love it. It makes me feel elegant, but again, still sensual. There is a sensuality to this dress. There is a sexiness to the dress. There's an ease to the dress. There's a warmth to the dress. It's just all around, has all of the trappings of any kind of dress that you would want to wear for being sexy, for being warm, and being elegant, all wrapped into one. This dress is actually by Commence. I picked this dress up, I think about 6 months ago by Commence. Super inexpensive. If there are more, I will link them for you in the description below. Or I think I know where to find a similar silhouette if indeed they are sold out of this particular one with Commence. But again, as with anything, I will always link it for you in the description if it is still available or something comparable. And how did I accessorize this beauty in this heather gray, right? You remember I went in with these boots from my outerwear video a few weeks ago, which I think is a perfect complement, especially if you're wearing this. Again, it really does have some spring to it, some elasticity to the dress. That is a perfect complement for these boots here. This wool material, oh my God, these Michael Kors are fabulous. Remember, they have this metallic patent heel, this Art Deco curved heel on the bottom with this pointed toe, and then the ruching that takes place throughout the entire shaft of the boot. These Michael Kors are fire, and the leather is so easy and soft and supple. And the handbag that I went with for this look, this was a Christmas gift of mine. You might have seen, I have two others like these. These are so whimsical. There is an Art Deco feel, a very unique, whimsy to this bag. The leather is fabulous. It does come with a little makeup pouch on the inside. It does have a strap for crossbody and shoulder wear as well. Look at the handle here on the bag. Do you see that? This metal, heavy, industrial handle on top. It is a satchel, but look at the beauty on the bottom. Look at this knob detailing on the bottom. You remember I have this exact same design, but in the rattan material trimmed in leather for summer, which I will be carrying with me for my European summer travels. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I just love the disc area on the bottom here. Very sturdy. You can sit it down anywhere, though I don't suggest sitting it on the floor. I don't know if you are from the South or even from the North and you had grandparents or parents that were reared in the South where the grandmother always said, don't put your bags on the floor. If you put your bags on the floor, you will never have any money. And I know it's old wives' tale, but hey, I follow it to this day. So anywho, beautiful construction, wonderful Art Deco design with this knob, this steel knob detailing on the bottom that was accentuated with my circular round hand candy, right? Let me know what you think about this look. Tell me this look isn't also cosmopolitan. All the things. Looks like, you know, a real style vixen, right? Let me know what you thought about look number 2. Look number 3. I chose to feature this look as the last look because it is most indicative of my personality and when I feel my most dignified, my most powerful, my most fortified. Yes, yes, yes. I really feel like a superpower when I am in what? Suiting. Yes, it is so indicative of my personality to wear a suit. I am definitely a type A personality and I love to break out a great suit whenever possible. This summer for PT Uomo in Europe and Italy, I'm going to be suited up. You guys have no idea. And when we get there for the tour, the tour is actually on the heels of PT Uomo, which is Men's Fashion Week in Florence, Italy. I got some great suits. I'm telling you, it's going to be on and popping. I'm getting them ready now. I'm getting them tailored now. So stay tuned for those looks. You know, last year before PT Uomo, I showed you all of the suits that I was wearing to PT Uomo last June. Yeah. And you love them. And I really wanted to give you guys, of course, many of you are not going to be there for the tour. So you won't have the opportunity to see what I'm wearing. But of course, I'm going to do a PT Uomo pre-episode. So you get an idea of the suits that I'm going to be wearing, but it will be much similar to what I am wearing right now as I am wearing the base set to this entire look. I feel like a power broker when I'm wearing a suit, particularly this look. This is an entire Zara look from head to toe. This is a button-down vest action going on with this hidden buttons here. You can see the buttons here. I really love the construction and design of this entire look. The pants, the trousers that I'm wearing, I wish I had taken them off and showed them to you, but there is like a design stitching that goes across the behind the knee on the back area where they like put the trouser together in panels so you can see where the construction and the stitching took place. It's unlike what you would see normally on a trouser. So I really like the design feature of it. And then the pants are also a bit cropped, which is great because I really wanted you to see the power shoe, the Steve Madden shoe that is featured and highlighted in this look. But let me not get ahead of myself. Of course, my tie, most of my ties are Jose Banks or Amazon. This one is from Amazon. It is a polka dot. Yes, action going on here in this maroon color, right? Of course, with the jewelry that actually punctuates and highlights the polka dots, the white polka dots in the tie itself. But again, this is a long vest. There are pockets on the trousers here. Yeah, can you see that? And then there are loops for a belt, should you so choose. There are pockets on the back, but they're not functional pockets. They're just there as a design feature. There are also pockets on the vest itself, but again, not functional, just a design feature. And it fits me perfectly. I picked up this set in Florence during my last trip. When we were in the store, remember, and I went live with you. This is one of the suits that I actually purchased while I was there. And do you remember I was telling you about the tariffs and how they affected almost immediately once they were announced? Now, just to be, completely transparent, tariffs have always existed for imports coming into the country, and whenever American goods are imported into other countries, there's also always a markup. So that's not a surprise. It's the amount of the markup that's been wild recently, absolutely insane. So this entire suit actually exists here in the United States now. The reason I purchased it in Florence, as I did 3 other suits. So I bought 4 suits while I was there in Florence during my last trip here in February, just last month. But all 4 of the suits were 190 euro. 190 euro in Italy, in Florence, okay? Had I purchased the same suits here on the Zara website or in the store here in the United States, it would have cost me double, almost double and a half of what I paid, excuse me, in Italy. That is the big difference. Another example that I give you, I purchased this coat on a recent Zara shopping excursion with Dr. McDaniel, who visited me a few weeks ago. The silhouette, the construction, the style of this coat is fire. It is off the charts. This coat very much is like the construction and the quality of it and the design of it is truly, no exaggeration, like something you would have found on the runway. It is so heavy, completely, fully lined. I am in love with this coat. There was also a similar one in orange, like a burnt orange color that we could not find in the store here. But when I went to Italy, I found the coat in orange as well. But to give you an idea of the price point, this coat here was $259. $259 here in the United States, right? In Europe, when I saw the same coat, it was $169. $259 to $169 over there. When I got there and I found the orange coat on the website here, the orange coat was $289. In Europe, it was $159. Tariffs, 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 tariffs. I mean, it's just ridiculous what is happening now with these doggone tariffs. And because I travel abroad so much, I can immediately see the problem with the exchange and the markups going on. So when I told you save, please save as much as possible. Make your purchasing choices wisely because the tariffs are in full effect and they are going to affect us negatively for the next few years as long as we are being subjugated and really taken advantage of by this baseless rank administration in office right now. So again, this coat is one for the ages. This coat stays in your collection. This coat is passed down. She is a dream. She is divine. And I am obsessed with her. Tell me what you think about this coat, right? I want to know your thoughts, but we're not done yet. How did I further accessorize this monochrome look? Again, my power broker look. I also went in again with these Steve Maddens. I bought these some weeks ago and I actually styled these for the first time with another almost monochrome look that I did with that pinstripe heather gray, but it was pinstriped in that maroon color with the tights and the leather shorts. I'll pop a pic up here for you to jog your memory. But I went in with these perfectly hued Steve Madden heels, right? Power heels. These are corporate heels, but still has a sex appeal and just a sturdiness to them and a business look to them, right? It's the perfect blend of business and sex appeal in this 4-inch all leather patent leather heel, right? And then I went in with one of my dupes. You've not seen this dupe before. This is her debut on the channel. I have about 5 of these. This is one of my acquisitions from Italy. I've had her about 12, 13 years. I have her in gray. I have her in black. I have her in navy. And I have her in, I think, a green color as well, like an olive green as well. She is beautiful. She has a sleeve on the back. Again, 100% leather from the leather markets in Italy, right? Of course, I keep all of my bags stuffed. Again, I defy you to look at this bag and not think that this came right out of one of the luxury stores, the high-end luxury stores, right? And what is this a dupe of, right? This is a dupe of the Chanel bag, right? One of the Chanel bags, again, with the top handle. It does not come with a strap for it does come with a strap for crossbody shoulder wear. It does. Let me see here. Here's the strap here. Yep, for crossbody shoulder wear. But of course, you know me, I will never wear it as such. I want to keep her like a satchel. I love wearing bags as a satchel as opposed to a crossbody or shoulder bag. But she is glorious, beautiful. Let me know what you think about her. Isn't my daughter going to be a happy camper when, and we all must meet our demise, but my daughter and my they're going to be so happy. They're going to be so happy. Of course, when I bequeath my entire wardrobe to her, right? Beautiful. That was look number 3. And look number 3 again, just fine. Makes me feel like I'm happy to be a woman. Despite all that we have been through in our walk to womanhood, I am still happy to be a woman, not just a woman, but a Black woman. I feel strong. I feel powerful, even in the mess that we are in right now. I feel proud of other Black women in the world right now and the things that we are doing. We are movers and shakers. I am honored to be in the company of some of the few Black women that I have the privilege of knowing at this point in my life. And I just couldn't be more hopeful for what we're capable of and what we will do into the future. Let me know some of your defining moments again in the comments below, again, or email me if they're a little bit too personal. But happy Women's History Month. And because I didn't get to speak to many of you prior to International Women's Day on the 8th, I wish you a belated International Women's History Day from the 8th. Thank you so very much for joining me on this episode of Suits Souls by EPP. And don't forget to head on over to Instagram and follow me there at Suits Souls by EPP. And if you're not already doing so, please hit that like and subscribe button for notifications on all new episodes. But until we meet again, à bientôt, muses. Bye.
Double leather labels us quick, rich mocha hue, melon.